Crypto markets are about to take off after the Fed's interest rate cut decision. In this week's Crypto Weekly, we'll be taking a look at the crypto markets for the week of 15 to the 18th of September. So we'll be taking a look at the three main cryptocurrency, namely Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and also one of the top performing coins for the week. So this week there was a major news event, so in the form of the Fed's interest rate cuts decision. So the Fed decided to cut interest rate by 25 basis points. And then if we take a look at this session over here, the session during the day, prices were moving down. But then on the news that the Fed is going to cut 25 basis points and they project to cut interest rate 2 more times this year, markets actually rebounded from the intraday lows and closed above. So the market reacted favorably to the interest rate cut decision. So over here we see that Bitcoin actually managed to hold above this level. So this level is about the 116 level, right? So I drew a line over here because we see that leading up to the interest rate cut decision meeting, right? Prices actually for Bitcoin traded sideways for a couple of sessions. So it traded sideways for about 5 sessions, right, before it managed to break out properly. So we had the breakout on this day over here on Tuesday, a day before the Fed's interest rate cut decision. But then on the day, it actually break below this key level of 116. But after the event, prices actually rebounded and closed back above this breakout level. And right now, as of this filming of this video, prices are actually trading above this key level. So with the interest rate cut decision and the Fed meeting out of the way, and with prices holding up well, this is a good sign that prices might continue its upward movement from here. So if we take a look at the technical price action for Bitcoin, over here, Bitcoin actually broke above its 50-day moving average, which is something important that we should take note of. So the 50-day moving average serves as a good intermediate term guide of where the trend of the market is, right? So if prices are trading above the 50-day moving average, it gives us a good indication that prices are in a uptrend, and if prices trade below the 50-day moving average, prices are either in a consolidation or in a downtrend. So with the fact that prices are now trading back above the 50-day moving average, this is a good indication to show us that Bitcoin might be regaining its positive momentum back again. So that's for Bitcoin. Now let's take a look at Ethereum. So Ethereum is trading just below its all-time highs for a couple of weeks now. So if we go on to the weekly time frame, it actually tested the all-time highs over here on this week, so at the middle of August. And since the middle of August, right now as of the filming of this video, we are towards the middle to the tail end of September. Prices are still trading just below this level. So this consolidation during an uptrend is also something positive. So in any healthy uptrend, we want to see prices moving up, then pause for a while before continuing its upward movement. If prices just go up all the way, those kind of uptrend tend to be exhausted more quickly. So in this case for Ethereum, after prices went up quite a substantial amount, we want to see prices moving sideways for a while just to digest that move. And during this consolidation or this sideways movement, of course, we want to see prices holding up above key levels of support or key moving averages. So over here on the weekly time frame, we want to see prices trading above this 10-week moving average. So the 10-week moving average is this red line over here. And on the daily time frame, we want to see prices trading above its short-term and intermediate term moving averages. So the short term moving averages would be the orange or the beige line. That would be the 10-day moving average, and then the 21-day moving average is the green line. So ideally, you want to see prices trading above this key short-term moving averages and also the intermediate term one, which is the 50-day moving average. So if we take a look at the daily time frame, we can see that the volatility for ETH is actually dying down. Here the decline was big, and then over here the decline was smaller, and then finally over here the decline was even smaller than the previous decline. So this tells us that the volatility is actually contracting. So barring any major news event, if prices can continue to contract, we could see Ethereum breaking out in the next couple of weeks. So that's for Ethereum. Now let's take a look at Solana. So Solana has been on a relentless march, right? So over here, it has been going up, and then it only pulled back to the 10-day moving average before finding support at the 10-day moving average and moving back up again. I believe we could see Solana making all-time highs sooner rather than later. So for Solana actually did a basing period over here. So it started around the end of July, and then it broke out on the early of September. So with Solana already putting in this period of consolidation, I believe that before it makes its all-time high, Solana is unlikely to move sideways for a extended period of time. So if we take a look at Ethereum actually traded sideways for, it started a basing period over here. So it traded sideways for almost 1 month now. But for Solana, if we take a look at the weekly time frame, we see that this was the basing area. So in my own personal opinion, I believe Solana may trade sideways maybe for 1 to 2 weeks before it makes its all-time high. So it won't trade sideways as long as Ethereum before making its all-time highs. But as always, this is not financial advice. Make sure you do your own due diligence. So that's for the 3 main cryptocurrencies. So let's take a look at one of the cryptocurrency that has been performing well this week. So that cryptocurrency will be Agent Layer. It has broken out of its base over here. So it has formed a nice base before breaking out over here. So the base was formed back at this point over here, so in around early May. And 4 months later, so after 4 months of consolidation, prices have actually broken out from this base. So with a nice base and basing period, we could see more legs to this move for Agent Layer. So the next potential resistance for Agent will be at this price level of around $4. So along the way, it might encounter some temporary pause or temporary reversal, but I believe that this price level of $4 is the next key resistance for Agent. So hopefully you have learned something from this video. I'll see you in the next one.